Hey guys, how's it going? I got a few more things to show you. There's actually going to be more to come because I have a record show coming up this weekend. There's two major shows that go on in my area, and they both do it twice a year, so that's 4 shows. Once in the spring and once in the fall, so 2 shows each. And so this one coming up is the second one, and that'll be it until fall. And I had a few pickups earlier this week, so I thought I'd get those out of the way before getting to the show stuff. And there actually might be a fair amount of show stuff, so I might have to break it up into a couple of videos or something. But for now, what I picked up the last week or so, oh no, this guy, Benny King, Supernatural. I think this is early 70s, 75, Atlantic. This is him getting a little on the funky side. Some good stuff here. And he's got Gwen Guthrie, who later had a solo hit with Ain't Nothing Going On But the Rent is on here with him. She co-writes a few songs and does some backup vocals. So that was a good one. And a couple of jazz ones. Billy Cobham, Spectrum. This is kind of a rockin' one. It was not your average relaxing kind of jazz at all. He's going full out on this one. So Jan Hammer on electric piano and Moog. That's I think I got about 3 or 4 others by him. And kind of in a similar vein, I got Larry Coryell, Planet End. I had, about a month or 2 ago, I picked up Spaces by him, which I happened to find pretty cheap. And I enjoyed that one, so I grabbed this one when I saw it. It's on Vanguard, you see that? And it's got the 11th House, the band is backing him up here. And also on some other tracks he's got John McLaughlin, Mahavishnu John, Chick Corea, Billy Cobham again. So kind of a very similar vibe to the Billy Cobham album. Just pretty hard rocking guitars on this one. Kind of a little bit different than I was expecting, but I enjoyed it. And I had... last time I showed you the Rocksteady Intensified. This is another Intensified. This is on Island Records. It's actually the Mango subsidiary of Island Records. This is called Intensified, Original Ska, 1962 to 66. This is ska music that came before Rocksteady. It's kind of the first original Jamaican music. And it's a various artists compilation. It's got kind of your standard names for the period: Roland Alfonso, Don Drummond, the Scatolites, Tommy McCook, Stranger Cole, and there's an early one by the Maytals, of Toots and the Maytals fame. He's kind of a little bit more well known. This is an early one by them from 1964. So this came out in there's no year on it, but apparently it's in 1979 this compilation came out. Probably in response to interest from the two-tone wave groups like the Specials and Selector and all that, who kind of derived their sound from the original ska music out of Jamaica. This is actually compiled by Steve Barrow, which this would probably make it one of his earliest projects. He's pretty well known in reggae circles. He went on to become kind of one of the more well-known musical experts out there. He spent most of the 80s going over to Island Records, sometime rival Trojan Records, and did a series of compilations there. And kind of late 80s, I guess, early 90s, he returned to Island and put out the 4 CD box called Tougher Than Tough, The Story of Jamaican Music, which is still one of the prime things you want to track down if you're trying to get into the music and explore it a little more. And following that, in the 90s, he co-founded the Blood and Fire label. which their mission statement was to bring reggae reissues into line with the design and the sound quality of labels like Blue Note and so on. So that label no longer active, but still well remembered. And another one here. Bootsy, baby. Got this for just under 10 bucks, which I was pretty stoked. It's almost perfect condition. Just like a couple tiny little scratches. Other than that, it's perfect. And just check that artwork if you can see it. What a cool cover. First Bootsy I've got a few other random kind of Parliament Funkadelic things. Not that much. I'm still trying to track some more down. Tough to find in my area. Everybody wants them, and when you do see them, they're usually pretty expensive, so I was glad to score that one. And lastly, I had a couple of kind of random thrift store pickups the other day. This one looked intriguing. It's called, I don't know if you can see that. The group is called Ananta, A-N-A-N-T-A, and the album's called Night and Daydream. This is from 1978, and it's on a Touchstone label. And this is kind of progressive rock on the spiritual tip. This is kind of music put out to promote Krishna consciousness. I've heard this record was sold by Krishnas on the street. It's kind of an obscure group. I've read also that they were Venezuelan. Most of the names of the players appear kind of English to me, so I don't know if that's true. But it just kind of looked intriguing, in kind of the same vein as Rasa, Everything You See Is Me, if anybody knows that album. Kind of very spiritual lyrics, but musically this is more on the progressive side. The first tracks, if you can see that, first tracks on each side, there's one called Vrindavan and one called The Game, which are both kind of really upbeat, up-tempo, kind of hooky, really cool tunes. And the rest of the album you can kind of play Spot the Influence for forever. I heard traces of kind of the Beatles, George Harrison, maybe a bit of Yes and Rush and spots, even a little Stevie Wonder in there. And yeah, but I have to say I kind of enjoyed this. Like I say, lyrics are on the spiritual tip, promoting peace and happiness and that kind of thing. Not really anything too heavy-handed and theological, but and like I say, it's not all mellow. It's some pretty upbeat, poppy stuff. I have to say, for what it was, I enjoyed it. I was glad I picked it up for $2 at a thrift store. It didn't suck, which, what else can you expect? And lastly, found this one, Rick Danko from the band. This is his solo album from 1977 on Arista. There's the label, and came with inner sleeve there, all photos. I've never seen this one before. I do have a solo one by Levon Helm. So when I saw this, I knew I had to pick it up. It kind of got a middling review on AllMusic, but I just spun this today and I thought it was terrific. If you like the band, you'll like this. And the musical guests are out of this world. Pretty well, every member of the band is on here at various times. You got Robbie Robertson, Levon Helm, and Garth Hudson. And then also, the first track you've got Ronnie Wood on guitars. Second track you've got Blondie Chaplin guitar. Third track Eric Clapton. And also Doug Somm from Sir Douglas Quintet comes on a bit later. So all-star lineup. Just terrific album. No real great departure from the band sound, but just solid stuff. I loved it. Really glad I picked that one up. So that's about it for now, guys. Like I said, I'll have a few more things for you very soon, possibly a fair amount. I had the show coming up, as I said, and I also had a few more pickups already from one of my main sellers that I hit up at the shows, which he was not going to make it to this show, so I was able to drop by his place and pick up some stuff. And I'll show those in a future installment, as well as whatever comes on show day. So yeah, that's it. Hope you enjoyed this. I've enjoyed all your comments and interacting with you guys, and I'll talk to you soon. See you guys.